cartoons.
A word that is not supposed to be associated with anime entirely. People who watch anime don't really like it when you bring this up. They don't like comparing cartoons to anime. They think anime is something made in Japan with Japanese culture, while cartoons are generally something made in Mexico or the United States. And this is where I bring in today's video, Actually I Am. Actually I Am is a quaint little romance anime that I decided to watch, and it reminded me so much of a, dare I say it,
Cartoon.
the way anime should be portrayed. So in my opinion, I think cartoons are a style of animation that can be used to overly express something to an absurd degree. And I'm here to say this. All cartoons have to be animated. You cannot get big expressions like that in live action because humans are a bit more flat and their expressions don't go as far as you can push something that's drawn. However, not all animations are cartoons. If something that is drawn doesn't have huge amounts of expression in the characters, then it doesn't qualify as a cartoon. An example of this would be The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. In this romance anime, we see two characters that are trying to get to know each other because they live next door, and one wants to take care of the other. Now, this premise you can do in live action. There's not necessarily a reason for this to be animated. However, the problems come from the characters not expressing themselves with big reactions or big scenes that require something to be drawn. And that truly is a waste of animation. Why go through the troubles of drawing something out or animating just for all the characters to be as flat as they would be in live action? Now take our video topic for today, Actually I Am. While not the exact same premise, it is still a romance anime, but the difference is the characters are a lot more bouncy. Their expressions are massive. Anytime something goes on in this show, the characters do an over-the-top amount of expressing. And it doesn't even have to be a show like this, because this show does deal with a bunch of wacky topics that you can't do in live action, like vampires, aliens, and a werewolf that can switch from man to woman, you know, crazy stuff. You could do it in something like the Quintessential Quintuplets. While it is not the same premise, it is still a romance anime where the characters' facial expressions do an insane amount of expressing. And this is kind of why I'm making this video today. The age-old debate, is anime a cartoon? And I'm here to say, yes, it is. 99% of anime all follow this exact same rule of bouncy over-the-top characters because that justifies it being animated. If they don't do that, then why animate something like that? So let's start with the first episode of Actually I Am. In it, we have a guy named Kuromi. Kuromi wants to confess to the girl who sits in front of him named Shiragami. All is pretty standard, a classic romance love anime, and I didn't think much of it until she turns out to be a vampire. And this is the entire plot, as Kuromi can't actually keep a secret. He's known as the leaky bucket in the show because he cannot lie, keep a secret, it's too obvious. But he has to because Shiragami, if her secret gets out, she will be taken away from high school and not allowed to return. And this is the show's strength, is that they intermix the main character's problems with what's going on in the show. So he has to keep a ton of secrets, not just Shiragami's, but also there's an alien, a werewolf, and a bunch of other secrets that people don't want getting out, like the principal. Every character feels like they have a purpose. It doesn't feel like they're wasting characters, because even side characters, like this one girl with glasses, I forget her name at this moment, she is a news reporter for the school newspaper, and her entire job is to snoop around and try to find and expose people's secrets. That's very bad for our main protagonist, who is trying to keep a secret, but he's also bad at keeping secrets, so you get the entire wacky shenanigans that happens. And every single time they're in a conflict with one another, oh my goodness, just the amount of expressions. I know I keep saying that word, but it's the best way to describe what's happening. They are enormous, they're quirky, they're goofy, they're exactly what I picture a cartoon should be. One of the best scenes in this show has got to be where Kuromi has to go confess to Shiragami because Shiragami says that she might be going away for a while and wants to talk to him. Aizawa also has a huge crush on Kuromi, and she wants to make sure that he doesn't confess to Shiragami. So what does she do naturally? Well, try to kill him with a massive shovel. And this chase sequence is done excellently. It's over the top, it's silly, and there's a lot of extra stuff. Like, okay, he's got to get to the top of the school, so what happens? Oh, she puts a bunch of desks in the way, like Mount Everest, and he makes this insane trek, this insane feat to try to reach the top. It's so good. Another absolutely bonkers scene is when the principal ends up eating a fudge cake that fell out the window that they were making in baking class. And per her request, she wants the girls to recreate the recipe so that she can enjoy this delectable cake once more. Unfortunately, the girls cannot recreate the exact recipe, so the principal gets really mad and threatens to destroy the entire planet with a meteor heading straight towards Earth. So their entire plan is to try to make the principal ill by feeding her a bunch of garbage food so that she eventually gets unconscious and the meteor doesn't strike Earth. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. And the characters just do whatever they can to stop this from happening. Oh my goodness, it's just a bizarre scene. So why exactly am I bringing this up? Well, it's because this is exactly what you want when you're watching anime. You want these over-the-top scenes that justify it being animated. Now, not everything needs to be over-the-top like in Actually I Am. In fact, I do believe that The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten could be a very well animated show if they just made the characters more expressive, therefore making it a cartoon, therefore justifying why it needs to be animated. And like I said before, it's kind of a waste of resources to animate something if it can be done in live action, but my brother did bring up a good point while researching this video. The Japanese anime industry does bring in a significantly larger profit than the live action industries in Japan. So I guess it makes sense to have these simple romance animes be animated because you get a significantly larger profit even if it's not warranted being animated. And on that basis, that kind of makes sense. And I guess just to wrap up this entire video, a cartoon is just an animation with large expressions. Every anime I've ever seen under the sun passes this except for a couple. And it just took me watching the show Actually I Am to really think about the idea of cartoons in anime. So that's gonna be it for me. Again, this is a very decisive topic and there's no right answer to this. This is just my opinion. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy and I will see you all in another video live stream. Goodbye.